Good morning, guys. At 11:10. It's 11:10 on April 10th. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of 11s. I've been seeing a lot of like 11:4 or 4:41. Like um, it's 11:11. A lot of 13s and 31s. It's 31 seconds on the clock right now. So a lot of everything going on with the universe. I think there's a lot really going on spiritually. Um, and so like today, I just feel like I have like a lot of wonderful messages. Some days I feel like the messages are really like intense. The energies have been intense. Like I'm not really one to get headaches or like aches in my head, but like usually when the energies are like extremely intense, I'll either get like slight headaches, and I think I know what like really has something to do with those the headaches coming on, and we're going to talk about that. Um, um, because like I'm the type of trainer, uh, metaphysician, life coach, however you want to call them, to where I don't really I can't really hide anything. I think that's kind of like that's someone asked me my strengths and my weaknesses. I think that is both a strength and a weaknesses because I I don't really hide much, you know. And some people are like, well, you're saying too much, but vulnerability is the key to connectivity. You know, like um, I realize that I haven't been the perfect being, and if you bring me a perfect being, and sit in front of me and there aren't any. Like we've all done things that we're not, so to say, like less we're just not proud of, but we learn from. I think that's what makes it a little bit more um like easy to kind of like relay, is because um like I've learned from it. So it's not like so much uh embarrassing, or like I'm just ashamed, of it. I've actually learned. I've learned from a lot, and so it just helps to just be able to use to use those situations as lessons and kind of like relate with you with them. So if I just imagine if I didn't like share some things, and relation like relating on relating is life. I think that makes a difference between um, you know good counselors or good trainers and good teachers, is we're able to relate. And I think God has given me a lot to relate with in my life, and so I'm very thankful for that. That's why I give thanks for the situations in the past. At the time they felt like torture, but now I look back and it's just that they're kind of like blessings. They're kind of like coins. you know it's crazy. So on the 10th of April, um I didn't know what I was going to talk about, and so I was eating my breakfast, and I got this message of talking about unconditional love, right? um just to say, there's a couple messages. So one being unconditional love, um and not just like unconditional love going one way. Let me write what I want to say real quick. Unconditional love Uh, it never works like that. I just have to allow it to flow. Unconditional love with, say, if you're dating, you have a partner, you have a twin, um, and this whole journey is about unconditional love with others. But it's also about balancing that unconditional love with yourself. It's a difference when you're really giving unconditional love, like when you're like, I love this person unconditionally. Um, but we also have to take into account, you know, the self love, like, because we can't. I feel like okay, there's we can't love someone more than we love ourselves. It just can't work like that. And we can't love someone so much so unconditionally that we disregard our unconditional love. So I feel like it's like the energies of and I may be a couple days in ahead. This may be like April 13th to April 17th or something. But I'm just giving it to you because I always get them like maybe a few days to a week in advance. The messages is what I'm referring to. So basically saying like, okay, you may love this person unconditionally, but where does the line stop? You know, and I feel like there will only be a line if you're loving someone that isn't loving themselves unconditionally and isn't that's not returning the unconditional love to you. So really and truly, it's like true unconditional love is like true abundant um flowing unconditional love is when you have two people that are loving themselves unconditionally and also loving their partners unconditionally. Because once you have, like, for instance, if I'm loving you unconditionally and you're not returning that love unconditionally, if you're not really returning that, that love unconditionally, then it's like I'm giving so much more and I'm not being replenished. It's almost as if like it's like it's so unbalanced. It's like I'm giving to you and you're not loving me unconditionally. You're not accepting who I am. I'm accepting who you are. We're not really getting along and we're not really flowing because you're not giving anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not talking about like financial. I'm not talking about like gifts. I'm talking about like on a soul spiritual level, on a loving light level. You're not giving anything. Like the other person is not. They're not giving anything. So, you're loving them and they're criticizing you. You're loving them and they're criticizing you. You're loving them and they're criticizing you. And eventually, you get tired of the bruises. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's gonna take two people, and everybody's like so rushing to get into this twin flame union when it's not ready. And this is revelation coming to me. Like, usually I'm itching like my ears are tingling and everything. So it's like everybody's just in a rush. Ooh, I want to be with my twin. I understand the pull. Ooh, I want to be. I want to be in a union. I want to be in a partnership. But what's so important, the most important thing here, is you don't want to be in a union that doesn't work. You know, you don't want to be in a union. You don't want a half-baked cake. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want eggs that's not cooked, uncooked eggs. You don't want, a steak, if you eat meat, that you just like slapped on like the skillet for a minute and just flipped it over and then like skilleted it for another minute and now your steak is like bleeding. You know what I'm saying? It's like seriously bleeding. It's not even brown on the outside. Like, you don't want a car that only has two wheels on it. And it's four. You need four to drive. And so I come back now to remain in my power. the thought is remain in my power, because I can get like I'm really a jokester, but this is not a time of joking, and sometimes I do it just to like I kind of like joke around just to take the edge off, but God's like stay in your power, and that's the message that I just received. um so again, you don't want something that's half done, or a quarter done, um because it's not going to taste good. It's unhealthy for you. It's going to fall apart. It's like it's either going to be fall apart. It's going to be too tough, to swallow or to chew. And it's just not the perfect mix. It's not ready. So you know, I the most the just allow everything to happen. You know, and like the previous video, hold space between the union. Like if it happens, it happens. Oh God. If it doesn't, then you keep living your life as adventurous as possible. But just know that, like, don't disregard your union just because, like, you feel like disregarding it. Because I feel like you're gonna have to answer to God. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't like, don't be manipulative about, you know, don't be disobedient. Is what I'm saying. Because you're gonna have to answer to God for that. I'm just saying. I'm just relaying it. And I'm receiving it as well. So we know that like a good way to judge your union is to get back together, just meet maybe for coffee or something, and allow the energies just to show you where you are. I mean, you don't have to goddamn get married. Like, I mean, it's not that serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, just see where the energies are, and and then go from there. And I think it's very, very important for twin flames or divine partners to know that one of the main reasons for getting together is to expand. Like, it's to grow. It's to evolve. And there's so many people scared of like this evolution thing. There's so many people afraid of like allowing people to grow. This is growth. Like, this is growth. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, until your union is ready, you should just realize that you're helping each other grow. You're helping each other to see how much you've grown, where you need to grow, in the areas that you've grown, in the areas that you need to work more on. It's just that type of relationship. And, until it becomes perfect in God's eyes, until both parties are healed, basically, we're teaching each other. And so you're doing like a great injustice, not only to, you know, your partner, but yourself, because it's like you're running from the things that is going to trigger you. But if they continuously trigger you, then you're not healed. And so it's crazy, because it's like you're running from the things that trigger you, but those triggers are your healing. Like, those triggers allow you to know where the bumps are. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you have like a new car, or those with the like sensors on the side, on the mirrors and everything, and you're riding, and like you're slowly merging over, and then your little thing starts beeping to let you know that somebody's in the lane. You know what I'm saying? It's almost as if like those are like indicators for you to stay in this lane, until everything is clear. Like, I mean, I know like it's a difficult process, but again, we're made to overcome. I know that the places that were triggered are so sensitive. I understand that. Um, but you know, nothing like anything that's worth it is ever easy. And I'm not really even talking about union. I'm talking about being your best self. I'm talking about really climbing that mountain. I'm talking about, you know, digging deep within yourself and really pulling the strength out of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like pulling the willingness to grow out of yourself. It gets to the point to where it's like, all right, I want to know, I don't know where I'm uncomfortable so that I can move forward. So that I can be whole. So um, again, back to the unconditional love thing. You know, so when you get to a place of unconditional love, of loving yourself, of just like accepting yourself and wanting the best for yourself, and like spiritually wanting the best for yourself, physically working out, wanting the best for yourself, your health, your strength, your knowledge of self, mentally wanting the best for yourself, as far as stimulating your mind, as far as reading, as far as educating yourself, emotionally wanting the best for yourself, as far as meditation, as far as exercise, as far as being in nature, as far as being around people that elevate your soul and your spirit, being around loving people, just meditation on light and love, on forgiveness, on allowing, on being receptive. Um, and once you get to that point to where you really want the best for yourself, um, you know, then once you get a hold of that, you can actually love someone else that wants the best for themselves and that loves themselves unconditionally. Because then you don't like the giving is on the same level. You don't have somebody that's just giving and nobody and it's not really being returned. And that way you're not being asked to fill anyone's cup. Someone's cup is already full. Like it's already full. You don't have to empty yourself to fill someone else's cup. Because they know how to fill their own cup. I hope I'm making sense a little bit. Um so basically I mean that's what the message that I have, that you can love someone unconditionally, but you really have to love yourself unconditionally, and you want to be in a relationship with someone that is loving themselves unconditionally. You want to be in a relationship with someone that's whole. So in a sense, like we need to kind of like put space between the relationship and work on making ourselves whole, like work on making ourselves or getting in touch with our unconditional love for ourselves. And that, some people, I was one of those people to where I felt like I loved my twin, like it was just a smack. It was just like I couldn't even, like, I loved my twin so much that I would just like walk, like I would just do anything, you know like not really anything like I don't harm anyone, but like I would walk a significant distance between cities, if I had to be there or to whatever, you know. But then again, it's like I think strength comes in love. Love is the new strength. Like love is strength. Don't let people tell you that love is weakness. Misconceptions of love is weakness. And I think that's what we're working on right now. When you can say, man, I really love this person unconditionally, but you won't do anything to harm yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you love them unconditionally and you love yourself, you know, if not more. And we just can't forget about God in this. You know, because God is, you know, it's crazy. It's amazing. I just received this message is, so God is the head, right? And then you have the two people here. I have a ruler. I'm gonna show you guys something. What I just showed me. Okay, in my head. So you have God, and you have the two people that uh love themselves unconditionally, right? And and so they're on the same, they're on the same level as far as their ability to fill their own cups. And so everything is well balanced. And and so we're not really almost almost done. Alright. So for instance, it's really odd that I had that rule there. So this is the image that I was shown. When it comes to being balanced, two people, two whole people, filling their own cups, loving each other, loving themselves unconditionally, loving each other unconditionally, loving God. Okay? So let's just say, let's just fold this back because I wrote another triangle on the back. So let's just say you see how there's like a little gap here in the level, like it's not level, like the scales are uneven here, like there's a little disconnect here. That's two people loving each other. That's one person loving themselves unconditionally, able to love someone else unconditionally, and then you have another person, you know, connected here to God, which means it should have been like empty going this way. But you have that other person that is not really loving themselves unconditionally, not really able to love the other person unconditionally. And so the scales are uneven, and so there's not really a connection like that. There can't really be a connection here. Now you have this one here. You have two people, and you have God. You have one person, you have another person, and you have God. These two people are able to love themselves conditionally, and so their connection to God is even stronger. And so that's the union. Like that's the union. I mean, there's no other way to put it. So instead of worrying about when are we going to get together, when you start worrying about when we're going to get together, you need, like, try to change your focus into thinking, what do I need to do with myself, like, to get me in better union with myself and God. Like, I need to be at the best connection with God that I can possibly be. That's the union we really need to be working on, and everything else is going to fall in line. All right, so the second message, because we're at 24 minutes here. The second message is okay. The second message is bridging the connection with God. Okay. Bridging the connection with God. Um, you know that there's a within the transformation there's a lot. Um, Hold on. Accepting the transformation. That's the third message that we're going to end with. I just wanted to write it down. So, bridging the connection with God is basically saying, we have things that kind of hinder our connection with God. We have, addictions that really hinder our connections with God. And we have, things that we do on a daily basis that hinder the connection with God. We have, not saying that you're not connected to God, but saying that the reception of the messages, of the guidance, of the direction, of the light that is coming from you, of the love that is able to flow from you, it's kind of distorted. It's kind of like not fully charged. The electricity is not like, it's not going through all the way as powerfully as it should be. It's not really making you feel as lovingly as loving, as joyful, as receptive, as prosperous, as abundant as it should be. And so I think it's a great time right now on this day of April 10th, which I think is a full moon, to jot down those habits or those addictions, to just be honest with yourself, and to jot down those habits and addictions and those things that really hinder you from God. And I think, in order to do so, you need to know what your best body, what it is to be in full connection with God. For one, there will be no addictions. Like, to see yourself in light, and to see yourself like really just liberated from everything, there won't be any addictions. That, like alcoholism, smoking of any kind, cigarettes, weed. Some people may not like that I said weed. But I don't care. I don't care if they said weed is the healing of the nation. I don't believe that. Because why would okay, that's another story for a different day, and I'm glad I kind of got into that because I really want to talk about that. So no addictions, no alcoholism, no harming anyone, no eating meat products, no fighting, no arguing, no bickering, no beating your wife, no beating your children, no, and I want to even say no vulgarity. I really do. I really want to say no vulgarity. I want to say you probably, uh, won't be sagging your pants. All the things that we do, that we see other people doing, that's really hurting our connection with God. And I'm saying, like, as you evolve, these things will fall away. So it's just a good indicator to know that if you're doing that, then you're not fully connecting with God, and you're not fully connecting to your joy and your power and your healing. All right. So just be truthful with yourself and write what is hindering you. You know, if it's like negative thoughts, if it's negative people in your life, whatever, write that list down. And if it takes you 3 years to cross everything off, then make that, you know, put that as a goal. You know what I'm saying? Like really put that as a goal to start really elevating yourself. So bridging the connection with God is like the most important thing, and really allowing healing. Uh, you know, really taking a look at the situations that we believe has caused us so much pain, whether it's abandonment. Like really take a look at, like, you know, why did you feel, you know, abandoned, and you know, how has that affected you, you know, as an adult now, and you know, take steps to really, you know, bridge that gap with God, because once you bridge the gap with God, then you can rise above it, you can heal, you know. Number 3, accepting the transformation. Yesterday, I had a profound revelation, that, you know, some of us could feel the transformations, you know, that is occurring in our lives, you know, on a very, like, not on a minute scale, but on a very small scale. You could feel, you know, what is taking place as you open up, as you bloom. And so it's a time of allowing the newness to come into your life. I know that it's fearful. I'm going through this as well. Like, it's very scary to, you know, really accept, really say yes to the transformation. You know, God has given it to us, and it's really up to us to say yes. We have to say yes, just like we have to invite God in, just like we have to invite the angels into our situations. We have to, you know, we have to invite them into our situation, you know, and allow them to guide, to work, and to maneuver. It's the same thing. You know, God will give you a blessing, but you have to say yes. Like, you have to open up to receive it. Yes, God, I open up to receive all the amazing blessings that you have in my life, all the love, all the unconditional love, all the spiritual connections, all my soul family, all the prosperity you have for me, all the angelic guidance you have for me, all the healing you have for me. Like, I open up, I receive it. Please, you know, come into my life. Like, so, you know, we're kind of like this, the fear of moving forward and leaving the people that you love behind, the fear of moving forward and not being in the twin flame relationship, and you know, maybe leaving that person behind, the fear of, you know, having to release people and release things in your life. Let me tell you, the new script that God is giving you is way better than you could ever imagine. And it's not really saying that you can't have your union. It's not really saying that. It's saying that the old paradigm, the old beliefs and ideologies that you had within that partnership is no longer going to be. Like, it's stepping into your new self. It's stepping into your new perception. It's stepping into your new idea of a relationship. It's stepping into a more spiritual concept of a relationship. And so it's, if you really want that transformation, if you really want a new beginning, the new beginning that God has given us, then say yes to the transformation. Allow God to work. And you know, that's the end of that thing. A message that's really on my heart, I really want to share, is, you know, as we evolve, it comes to a point that, you know, we need to stop. We have to, like, stop engaging in those things that bring us down, or harm our bodies, really, because you know, for instance, like, I guess this week I had like Maybe for the whole week I had like 4 or 5 beers, right? And I realized that my body doesn't hold the beer well. I realize any alcohol, like now, my body does not hold it well. Like the beer is actually starting to. I think I'm allergic to it. It's crazy. Like I've never had like breakouts. Like my throat has never really itched. Like as if I would had hives or something from drinking alcohol. Like my throat begins to itch as if like I'm allergic to it. So it's like our bodies are not going to deal with um, these things well. So I've been said that I need to make that connection because I want a stronger connection with God. I desire that. Like I'm that person that desires to be like in serious connection with God, and so that I know that you know like it's here to where I'm no longer like my body and my mind and my soul no longer needs or wants to drink, and so I'm beating myself up because I had those beers, but we have to be easy and accepting with ourselves. As long as we know that the end goal is to you know be empty of those things, and that every time we do it, we get closer to releasing it. So I want to wish you guys a good day. It's 37 minutes. I love you guys. Much light and love. Blessings.